audience who feels like a nobody? Is there anyone who feels like they are not good enough or they don't matter? I know this is a brave question to ask an august audience of inspiring minds that have come together to watch a TEDx event. But at least a few of you would relate to this feeling of nobody. Well, I've lived with this feeling my entire life until something beautiful happened and changed my life 4 years back. I was brought up in an upper middle class family, like the one they show in Three Idiots, the famous Hindi Bollywood movie, where as soon as you were born, you were stamped to become a doctor if you were a girl, or an engineer if you were a boy. My dad raised me up, instilling in me a lot of self dependence, and he gave me the best of education. Probably he was dealing with a lot of complexities that he had in his mind and overcompensating for it. Nevertheless, I grew up with a lot of focus, became a dentist, came 21st in the country, did post graduation, became a clinician, a consultant, and yet, after all this, I still felt like a nobody. My initial feeling of a nobody came from my dad and his achievements. My dad is a big guy. He's a civil engineer. He has been an executive engineer in PWD, a real estate guy, a developer. And my achievements always felt so tiny in front of his. So, nothing that I could complain about. He gave us the best of living. It is only now that I look back that it's apparent that could have been the beginning of what I felt. After my education and career, it was time I got married. I was this ambitious girl, a little feminist, a little rebellious, a whole lot humanitarian, with so many dreams and ideas. And I was married in a family that was a typical, rigid, conservative Indian family. Obviously, things had to fall apart, there was no common ground. My voice was not heard, my work was disregarded, there was no scope for mutual growth in our marriage. But the final nail in the coffin, and the reason why we parted off, was when my husband did not allow me to name my own child with the name that we both had thought of, and instead gave her a name which his sister wanted to. A petty issue, right? But not for a woman, not for a wife, who was always made to feel like a nobody. For her, her child was the only possession that she had that she was banking on that would be partly hers. I tried to convince him, but the convincing became arguments, and arguments became verbal and physical abuse. And after one such physical abusive incident, I decided I had had enough, and I decided to walk out with my child. I walked out as a convinced nobody. The process of divorce started. I put up a brave front in front of the society. I was carrying on with my work in an auto mode, pretty much mechanical. My child was being taken care of by my parents during that time, and I was dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of internal stress. The way I coped up with the stress was by binge eating, junk eating, finishing Nutella jars 2 or 3 in a day. So much so that I put on a whooping 11 kgs in a span of 2 months. For a petite body like mine, that's a lot of weight. I was moving from medium sized clothes to large sized clothes. And oblivious of how fat I had become, I decided to take up a Sunday couple dance class. And we had this rotatory dancing partner system during that time. And one gentleman was supposed to dance with me. He just came to me and he just refused to dance with me. It was like below his dignity to dance with me. Of course, I looked like that during that time. I don't have much questions about that. So that day, I went back and I cried and cried and cried. Uh, but usually, when I cry, I become a very optimistic person. So I sat back and I looked at the bigger picture and I felt that, okay, I can come up with two conclusions from whatever the scenario it is that there is in my life. I came up to the conclusion that I had hit the rock bottom of my life, rock bottom of being a nobody. And the society, parents, my friends had slowly stopped believing in me. They were losing expectations out of me. So the optimist in me was like, this is a very good situation. From this rock bottom, you only have to climb up now. And what more do you want? No pressure from peers, no pressure from parents or society. It was this time that I thought I should take a grip of my life, put back all the broken pieces of my life together. And I started doing that by taking one positive step after another. The first thing that came to my mind was I should look good, lose some weight. Because even then, I believed that my physical well being would be able to help me with mental well being. So I decided I should join a gym. But it wasn't an easy task for me. Now I was ashamed of my body thanks to the dancing partner. So then I decided probably if I could jog around the ground near my house for a month and look fit enough to enter the gym, that would be a good idea. So I did that, managed to do that, and I finally enrolled myself in the gym. Prior to this, when I used to go to a gym, it used to always be more of cardio, elliptical, hopping, skipping, and all that. But this time on, I was introduced to a fitness trainer who was also a bodybuilder, and he took me to the world of bodybuilding. This was new science for me, right from nutrition to weight training. So, first 6 months of my gym was all about learning the new science, the new basics of nutrition, the form and function of weightlifting. The next 6 months went in developing the strength to lift heavy and to sort out my lifestyle. After about 1 year, there was a love affair that started. Love affair with iron. Now this was a time I was looking forward every day of my life for that 1.5 hour that I would spend in the gym. That was my time. The time where there was pure action, no other thought, a blissful state, blank, away from stressful world. It was like a meditative state for me, completely therapeutic. I used to feel happy lifting weights, probably because of the happy hormones or the endorphins released in my brain. Also, as soon as I finished my workout, I would get these thrills of checking myself in front of the mirror in the changing room by flexing my pumped body. As a woman, usually you do not have developed muscles unless you're weight training. So for me, each muscle development was a very amusing thing. It was as if a child was seeing a UFO, each and every muscle development. I still remember when my biceps popped out. That was a magical feeling. During this time, most of my friends were also bodybuilders. I used to roam around with them to know more about bodybuilding, to know more about what they eat, because experience teaches you a lot. So I would ask them about what they usually do to gain weight, to gain muscle, and all sorts of things. I used to also hang around them and tag along for these local bodybuilding competitions that used to happen in Goa. And it was an adrenaline rush that I used to feel when I would see these completely shredded competitive bodybuilders exhibiting themselves on stage. And I used to wonder, why is this such a male dominated sport? Why aren't females in Goa taking up the sport? Once, when I was going through, most of my knowledge came from the internet that time. So when I was going through the internet to know about the workouts of a female bodybuilder, I bumped into the profile of this female, this lady, Sonali Swami. She was 38 years of age with two kids. And quickly I thought, I was younger than her, I just had one kid. I thought I could do better. And this was a time when my dream of being the first bikini bodybuilder of Goa. was born. Now I was excited. I was excited because I was taking my love affair to the next level. It was almost like showing my boyfriend to my parents. Here, of course, it was my love for bodybuilding to the society. So, with whatever knowledge I had, and from the internet, from the local bodybuilders, and a brief coaching from a coach based in Australia, I decided to compete. In 2018, I did my first competition and I lost miserably. But and with that came a lot of opinion from society how I was a professional, the age was also a factor. Now I shouldn't be doing this. But this had already become my passion. I wasn't supposed to leave it anyways. From this competition, I also learned that the top five bodybuilders that were there in that championship had put in at least 3 to 4 years of hard work. I was ready to put that kind of hard work. I also found my current coach, who's based in Delhi, Asad Hussain, in the same competition. I quickly went on Instagram, checked his profile, and asked him whether he could take me up. I'm sure when he saw my profile, he saw that I was not the most genetically equipped athlete he could have. And my co competitors were quite younger compared to me. But still, he took me up, probably because he saw the drive in me to become that somebody. Now I was completely excited because I had the best coach of India with me, and I had full confidence that I could put in all the hard work that I had in my journey. So we started working. Of course, this journey was tough. There were times that I felt weak, and when I would feel weak, I would pick up my pictures prior to 2018 and compare them with the progress pictures and put them up on stories of my Instagram. There were times when I used to feel weak, and I would put up quotes which would give me strength and inspiration during that time. And while I was doing this, I built up quite a bit of fan following. A lot of people were watching my journey. In 2019, after 1 year of hard work, finally, coach and I decided to present my physique to India to begin with, and we competed in one of the toughest competitions of bodybuilding in India, Sheru Classic, Bangalore, and we won the gold there. Within a week, there was another competition in Mumbai, that was Boss Classic Championship. This was the championship that I had lost in 2018 by coming last, and we got another gold there. And we concluded the season by winning the third gold at Delhi in Shanghai Classic. This was the biggest sense of achievement I had ever had in my life. I got so many messages, so many phone calls from all over India. But what really made me feel good was when people called me. I remember there was a call made by a person going through a divorce, and he told me how my journey had actually made a difference to him. He was watching my story, and that gave him strength during his tough time. For me, that moment, I felt that I had become somebody larger than I thought I would ever be. Now, today, that I feel that I have become somebody, I do not want to stop at that. I have newer goals, newer dreams to achieve. I'm going to be competing at a pro qualifier soon, which is going to give me a license to be a professional bodybuilder and compete with other bodybuilders across the globe. I'm also the finalist of Mrs. India 2020, the International Glamour Project. I know there are so many somebodies out here who have achieved so much in their life, but my heart goes out to all the nobodies who are sitting in the auditorium. I want to tell you that the journey to push yourself from a nobody to somebody is a beautiful one. Go for it, and all the best in your journeys.